Blackmagic Design, creating revolutionary solutions for film, post-production, and television.
I'm Indiana Underhill. This is Haley Royal. We're the co-founders of Cinematography for Actors, covering for No Film School here at NAB, all the company names you can think of. But most importantly is Katie Eleneke, a good friend of CFA, who is an incredible DP, but also is like one of the lead educators on the Sony cinema lines. So
yes,
hello, Katie.
Thank you so much. Yes, hi. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Of course.
And the drama, I loved
yeah,
it.
I know. Yeah. Katie and I were just like, she was like, do I have to improv? And I was like, nope, because if it's improv for a DP, it's just us going like this. And
all
like,
hands.
This is acting, right?
All
yeah,
hands.
No, it's just pretending we're funny and we're not.
Yeah.
Okay, how did we build out this booth? What do we have on offer? What are the different cameras? All the good stuff.
So Sony's booth is consistent of like the cinema set, and then we've got the broadcast set that's over there. Here at this particular set, we have our Venice 2 that's in a multi-dyne setup, which is a live SMPTE fiber back showing that you can have this really beautiful cinematic camera, but you can use it for like live multicam, things like that. And then we have our Venice Rialto mode, and we have a Burano. That's the latest, greatest, hottest that everybody's talking about, which has been really fun. If you have any questions about the camera, we would love to have you guys come by, or we can talk about it. Even come to the DMPC, come to the Sony booth.
What is like, okay, the Burano, you know, it's launched like early spring, or was it last year even?
They announced it in about fall last year and started shipping like a month ago or something like that. Yeah.
So still relatively new.
Yes.
Most people probably haven't shot on one yet because they're waiting for their orders. Sony Burano. If someone was like, what do I need to know about this camera? Like, I can't do all the tech specs, or I feel stupid asking, I'll ask for them. Why do we need the Burano?
So I had the opportunity, I just wrapped a documentary up with the Burano, so it's great for single camera operators, and it's a beautiful camera, but the biggest thing is it has internal RAW. It has the XOCN internally, 16-bit, and that is the thing that really sold me on it. I love my FX6, but it's 10-bit XAVC, and so I always will rent a Venice or something like that for the bigger things, but the Burano is kind of like perfect for all of the things that we need, which is really excellent.
That's so cool. Okay, and so with the 16-bit versus 10-bit, if you were to explain bits to like a new DP, like No Film School, we have everyone from people who want to just keep up with the industry to emerging filmmakers. What is like the capability of 10 versus 16?
So the biggest difference would be things like, okay, let's talk about 8-bit versus 10-bit, right? Back in the day, 8-bit was like the A7S II, and that was the best technology at the time. But if you're shooting things like a sunset, for example, there's so many millions of colors that are involved in something like that. And if you were in 8-bit, for example, you used to see banding, or you'd see where the colors, the gradation wasn't smooth. It had hard lines on it as you moved from, brighter to the pretty magentas and then into the blues and things like that. And so when we got into 10-bit, we kind of solved that problem. Now that we're getting into 16-bit, it's closer to that of like when we talk about film or having the best negative. And so you can capture things like neons a little bit better. So it's really about the millions of colors that exist in the world and being able to reproduce and replicate them really well.
Fantastic. Okay, so we have the Burano. We've talked about this. What else do we have here?
Okay, so then we also have the FR7, which is a robotic. It's PTZ, stands for Pan Tilt Zoom.
And is that
camera.
what we did the live stream with when we were over at the production center? Cool.
Yeah, correct. And what's so great about it has a similar sensor to like an FX6 and the same color science, and it's full frame and large format like the rest of the cameras. And so when you cut away to this robotic camera, it still looks like it's part of the family and not like from Big Brother, or you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like a reality TV show necessarily. So it's really beautiful, and a lot of reality have started to adopt it because it looks so nice. It's really beautiful, it reproduces nicely. And then we also have over here, we've got our FX6, just kind of showing it in RS3 with like the loop, and it's just a fun way to rig your FX6. Cool. But what's really fun is this one that's right on the far side is what we're calling the creator rig, right? For the movie The Creator.
Which is great because we're getting someone mounting it right now.
Yes, exactly. So it's with an FX3, and the Creator was actually with anamorphic lenses with Atlas, the Orions, the Mercuries, and the actual lens that they shot with, because essentially they wanted to shoot large format anamorphic, which at the time didn't quite exist for the FX3 style, right? And so Atlas made a lens for them, and that's what they shot with, and it's actually on the other side.
Oh, cool!
On the counter.
Check that out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, but this was basically how they shot with. They kind of made this gimbal in handheld mode with an FX3, and the whole goal was because they wanted it to be like a director could hold it, right, for a long time, or anybody could keep up with it. And they had a bunch of different small cameras that they used. So it was really cool. So that's what we're showing on this side of the booth. This is an FR7 as well.
But rigged from the ceiling,
Yeah.
from the grid.
Yeah,
that you built.
yeah, exactly, rigged from the grid.
And so when you're building a set like this, you're just taking into consideration that I want like full dynamic range to show that highlights, shadows are here, colors, color rendition, stuff like that. Are there any other considerations you guys make when you're building out a set?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the set, we had like no neons and not a lot of practicals when we first came. And then we started adding a bunch of neons and things like that because the goal is exactly that, right? We want to show what we can reproduce. And we also talk a little bit about 709 and HDR and things like that on the monitors. And so, yeah, absolutely. We add all of these fun colors and these neons to really show what's best. And then now, obviously, we have so many fun friends with all the lens manufacturers. And so we wanted to add more practicals so that way when you throw an anamorphic on one of the cameras or you have a Cook or a Nano or something, you can, aren't just looking at the cameras, but you're also looking at what the lenses are doing with the cameras.
Now, I do want to do a bit of a shout out to the place of work that you are at, because I love, and I don't think a lot of people who are maybe like newer to the industry in LA know that it exists, and that's the Sony Digital Media Production Center. It functions as both like a stage that you have because you have a TV set there, you have a small virtual production volume, and then you also do a lot of support there. How can people get involved or hear about events, or like how can they kind of come in and test out cameras or anything you have on offer?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the best way when we start, we work with a lot of groups to do the training. So the best way is to, one, follow at Sony Cine on Instagram because they're constantly posting about if we're doing trainings. And during the summer, we'll do it like a road show, and I'll go to like Chicago and New York and things like that. So then if there's people all around the U.S. That I might be there, but if they want to come to the DMPC, you can also DM Sony Cine, but also on the website SonyCine.com, that you're able to, you can look at the information, they'll start posting events and things like that.
Great. I think community is always so big, and we know that, and I think that Sony does a great job of having a stage like that where people can come and learn and also connect with like-minded Sony users and filmmakers. So, Katie, thank you so much for taking us around the booth. I really appreciate it.